Hello and welcome to Ryno's Ravens Review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Great win yesterday. Did seem to be a little bit tough going in the first half and most of all, the second quarter. But, as going from my notes here, should really start reading from my notes instead of trying to ad-lib like I usually do. That's why I make the notes. Say great win, second quarter. Made things a little hectic, I guess, nervous, maybe. But the reports came out later. Lamar Jackson led the halftime speech, which was laden with profanity. Allegedly, anyway. Good for him. Good. That's what good leaders do, especially in a football game. First half not going the way you want it to. Leader gets up in front of the team in the locker room, gives a halftime speech, inspiring the team. Looked like it worked, too. Way too many sacks allowed by the offensive line early. Part of that is the type of routes. A little bit longer routes. Take longer to develop. Second half, there were a few more quicker routes that were called. Get the ball out of Lamar's hand quicker so he doesn't have to try to sit there in the pocket for 5-6 seconds, which isn't really going to happen. And what I have in my, overall note part, another ridiculous challenge by Harbaugh. I mean, come on now. I mean, I saw the review and I'm like, what? In what universe do you really think you're going to win that challenge? So, really needs to fire the video replay person the Ravens have. Or give that person some corrective training or better education on what would actually be a winnable challenge. Because it's not working well. Has Harbaugh won a challenge all year? I don't think he's won a challenge all year. Changes need to be made there. Changes need to be made. Yeah, here I go again, pointing out faults in what was a 24-point drubbing of the Baltimore Ravens over the Houston Texans. Houston Texans 10, Baltimore Ravens 34. Let's go to the... Oh, and yes, this is BaltimoreRavens.com right here on their main page. Let's go to their little Game Center button. If you'd like to follow along or check out some of these pages on your own, when you go to the home page, this Game Center I'm talking about with all the stats, it's this little gold button right here. And that's this page right here. Again, still no defensive stats. Still weird. Lamar Jackson, 16 of 22. The greatest passing performance that Lamar Jackson's ever had. Not really even that good a passing performance. That's less than 10 yards of completion. That's not great. 2 passing touchdowns does help that. But really where Lamar Jackson took over and beat the Texans was with his legs. You can see 11 attempts here, which is right around the number you want it to be, maybe a little lower. That's about it. 11, I think, is the max. Though some of those are probably scrambles where he ended up getting sacked. So, 100 yards on the ground for Lamar Jackson, 2 touchdowns. Longest run was 23 yards. Taking a look at Justice Hill. Justice Hill actually got the bulk of the carries, or the most carries, from all the running backs. 13 carries, 66 yards. Justice Hill had a pretty good game, I think. Caught a few passes for 11 yards, and weirdly enough, I don't know if it's just we haven't seen that much of Justice Hill over the years or what, but he almost seems faster than in previous years. Have heard a few commentators be like, "Oh, Justice Hill is now the speed guy." I'm like, Justice Hill has speed? I mean, there's so many football players out there. They're so good, and a lot of them are fast. So when they're running next to each other, I guess it is harder to tell sometimes. But maybe that's what it is. The Texans' defense was just slow, but Justice Hill looked really fast yesterday. But that's a good thing. Developed this man over several years, and dividends are paying off, right? Gus Edwards, and I know there are some rumors out there that maybe Gus Edwards hurt his hand a little bit. Have not seen any news, any injury updates coming out yet. It is still the weekend. Gus Edwards, 10 carries, 40 yards. Dalvin Cook, I kind of expected to see a little bit more Dalvin Cook. He did get 8 carries, but that was mostly when the Ravens were up by a touchdown or two. So I did expect a little bit more out of him, but do have to get his feet wet a little bit. Garbage time, so to speak. 8 carries for 23 yards, which is very good. Taking a look at the catches here. Again, not a great passing game by Lamar, but in the second half was all Ravens, so it was a lot of running the football. Flowers, 4 catches. Bateman, 3 catches. Good to see Bateman be a little bit more featured and be at the top of the pass-catching pecking order. Feel like we haven't got as much out of a first-round pick as we would have liked with Bateman. Has had some injuries to deal with. Beckham only 1 catch. Weird. Likely 2 catches, one of those being a touchdown. And something I wrote down for the offense note. Lamar missed. Oh, I forgot to put where that was. Lamar missed a touchdown to Isaiah Likely. On the first drive of the third quarter. And you could see Likely motioning this with his hand towards Lamar. Put it up higher. Later in the game, Lamar did. Lamar threw it almost 7 feet in the air and Likely went up and gotten it. May have been a little bit shorter than 7 feet. Likely didn't have to jump up too far, but the key was it was high. It was higher than the defenders could get. Put it up there for Likely, and Likely made the play on the football. And also on his other catch, it was a very quick route, short route, but when Likely caught it, did some running of his own, breaking tackles, stiff arm, got several yards out of that play. I told you, and I know I'm saying this again, but I told you Isaiah Likely could play. Finally, somebody's believing me. And finally, that person is Lamar Jackson throwing him the ball. All right, let's go to this NFL.com. This is the score page, stats. Yeah, this is... Come over to this little score menu. Select the game you want. This is the page I'm on here. I like how you can see the averages of the running. Lamar averaged 9 yards per carry. Justice Hill averaged 5 yards per carry, which is really good. It's a really good average for a running back. 4 yards per carry for Gus Edwards. Obviously not as good, but 4 yards a carry is real good. 3 carries is more than a first down. Dalvin Cook only averaged 2.8, but that ain't bad neither. Yeah, you're not going to get a first down on 3 plays, but you probably get a first down on 4 plays. Which the Ravens did once in the third, was it the third quarter? Yeah, it was the third quarter during a very long drive they had. This drive here, you see that where, right? Let's make sure. Trying to find where it was. It was a bootleg. Maybe it was this one. Where it was? It was a first. It was 4th down. It's like 4th and 1. And they called this bootleg play. Here it is, right here. 14-yard run. Lamar Jackson left. It's 4th and 1. It's a 4th and 1. So instead of going up the middle, they called a bootleg. And yes, it was in this drive here. It ended up in a touchdown, but this was the touchdown to Isaiah Likely, the one where Lamar did put it higher. Typically, when the Ravens have gone for it on 4th down, what they have done is like a Gus Edwards play, straight up ahead. So a bootleg with Lamar Jackson, while you should be expecting it, they haven't run it too much, so caught everybody. It feels like the whole defense went to the right, which is where the play action went. Lamar snuck out there to the left. But this was really the turning point here. The start of the 3rd quarter, coming off of halftime and Lamar Jackson's speech. Yeah, only about 3-minute drive, but ended in a touchdown. Then a Texans punt, and then this drive here, which took 7 minutes. And it's listed in the 4th quarter because that is when it ended. It did start in the 3rd quarter. A lot of time taken off the clock there. That's how you do. Ravens offense sometimes try to get away from what they do, but this is what they do. This is how you do. 7-minute drive, touchdown. Defense gets another stop. Here you go. In the 4th quarter, another 7-minute drive ending in a touchdown. They can score quickly. They can. But it is more their forte to matriculate the ball down the field, chew up the clock. What you need in that is you need to execute on offense. You do need to pick up your first downs. And at the same time, you need your defense to flex. And moving on to the defense, didn't flex that much this game as far as numbers wise, because you look at the defensive numbers right here. Take a look at the sack column. Nothing in the sack column. Wow, I feel like we haven't seen a Baltimore Ravens held sackless in a long time. It feels like that anyway. Several tackles for loss because they were able to hold the Texans' run game in check. Let's go check out those numbers. Texans, look at this. Devin Singletary, 9 carries, 22 yards. C.J. Stroud, 3 carries, 9 yards. Dare Ogunbowale, probably not how you pronounce that. 2 carries, 7 yards. Not even 50 carries. Part of that is having Lamar Jackson on the other side and having that dynamic playmaking ability, forcing the Texans to really try to throw the ball. And smashing the run game, taking it away, really. Excuse me. That is Ravens football. No sacks, though. They were in C.J. Stroud's. I definitely used the wrong words there. The defense definitely was in C.J. Stroud's face a lot, but just weren't getting home at all. I think the Texans were doing quicker routes, which is what the Ravens should have been doing the whole time, but the Texans were doing it a lot earlier. You can't hold the ball against a defense that is coming after your quarterback. You can't wait 4 and 5 seconds, 6 or 7 seconds for these long plays to develop. You don't have the time. You got to get these short, quick passes into your skill position players' hands and let them work. Now, they were able to get Nico Collins and Devin Singletary. They were able to get the ball in their hands a bit, and they were able to get some yards. Even Dalton Schultz here, their tight end. They were able to do that a bit, but not enough. Just not enough. Where am I going here? What else do I got here for the defense? Intentional grounding. There was at least one intentional grounding, which it would have been a sack. Pressure in his face, and C.J. Stroud just gets rid of the ball. Well, because he doesn't want to take a sack. So, but then the result of a play is kind of like a sack anyway. You lose the down. The ball is spotted right about where you were. What? Can we just award the defense a sack there? I mean, isn't that really what happened? Right? I mean, it's like this same result. Loss of down, somewhat of a big loss of yards, too. Why are we allowing quarterbacks to take sacks away from defensive players? Just seems wrong to me. Seems wrong. Especially when it's a penalty. That's really what it is. Why? I mean, because it's a penalty. You're not allowed to just randomly throw the ball when nobody's over there. Oh, I don't want to get sacked. Okay, I get that. Well, be better. Throw the ball towards somebody. Or, you know what? Just suck it up. Take a sack. It's football. Damn wuss. Ronald Darby. Right here. Did he get it? He did get a few passes defense. Yes, he made several good pass breakups in replacement of Marlon Humphrey. So we'll have to keep our eye on that moving forward. We're going to keep Darby around for a year or two, maybe bring him back. How about next week? Is Humphrey going to be back next week, or is Darby going to have to go again? Darby did seem one play, can't remember when it was, made a tackle and he was kind of holding his arm in a position that made you think that he kind of hurt it. He does have some kind of fancy little wrap on there. Hopefully it's not too serious and Ronald Darby can play up to his normal potential. Because Rock Ya-Sin came in substitution for Darby for at least that one play. Rock Ya-Sin, he's good enough as like a nickel or a dime corner. I don't know that he's quite at starting corner level. So we really want Darby and or Humphrey, maybe both of them, healthy. Arthur Millette, was he the grounding play? Arthur Millette did his little blitz thing again. Hamilton blitzed a few times, didn't get his home, obviously didn't get home because there's no sack, but at least the few times that Hamilton did blitz, he was picked up. Not like you've seen in a few games, bringing a Hamilton or a Millette off the edge and they're untouched. But Millette was able to get in there untouched. Millette's a little faster. Do like how they're utilizing Arthur Millette. in my opinion, Arthur Millette is not a safety. He is a corner, but what's the word? He's like a in-the-box corner, I guess, right? How you want to say it. A safety who's usually playing deep in the field, brought down into the box to help a little bit with the run game. Kind of where Millette is, but let's say a corner is more of his natural position, but you can kind of move him towards the hash marks and have him play inside a little bit because he does seem to have very good skill at blitzing. The downside is I've used it a lot, so not news to anybody. You know, when we play the AFC Championship Game next week, whoever the opponent is going to expect to see it at least once. So, all right, let's double check the notes. Oh, I missed that part. Yeah. A lot of false starts by the Texans did aid in why the defense was able to perform very well, but doesn't exactly have a lot of the stat numbers to back that up. Texans false started a lot. I think some of that was due to the impending pressure, I guess. They knew the Ravens were coming for the quarterback because that's what the Ravens do. Texan offensive lineman trying to get a head start. But that is going to do it for the notes. Let's go to a little bit of logistical news. Next week, all the playoff games are going to move into Sunday now, so no more Saturday playoff games. As of right now, the Ravens have the early game at 3 o'clock, and the Niners have the later game at 6:30, which will probably be a little later because I don't think 3.5 hours is enough time. Ravens' opponent is not determined yet. The Chiefs are playing the Bills tonight, and the Ravens will face the winner of that matchup, and that team will come here to Baltimore. So I will do my Ryno's Ravens preview next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, however you like to say that. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and you'll be notified when that video does drop. And while you're at it, go ahead and like this video, please, and thank you. I am the Angry Ryno. Fly, Ravens, fly.